If you've done my educational video, you'll know how important this template is. But just a high level in case you haven't. Sarah, James, Katie, and Simon, can you see they're all on 35? 35, 35, okay? I don't need to expand the others. You can see they're on 35. They've all got the same skills, right? So they're all identical skills wise, but because of their work patterns, you'd have to charge Sarah out at $56.90, Katie $59.07, Simon $69.59. That's a big difference to $56.90, and James $65.70, and that's to break even, making no profits, and that one does include staff expenses. To exclude staff expenses, the numbers go down, right? But we're going to cover that off in the training now. All right, so how do you fill out this very valuable template? It is so valuable. Right, you come in here, and you can either click on here or click on there. You pick. I'm just picking that one. All right, we recommend excluding staff expenses, but I just showed you before, it doesn't really matter. You can switch between them. But staff expenses are things that you give to your staff. Like you might give them a spa, you might pay for them to go to a spa treatment at Christmas time. The subscriptions that are directly related to them. We'll go through it when we populate it. But just click this one. As I said, it doesn't matter anyway. All right, this is just the general business data. Now, we're assuming everyone's on the same KiwiSaver rate. We're not assuming that you give someone the minimum and you give someone 5%. This template is high level only, and it does not deal with that. So currently the minimum is 3.5. By the time you do this template, it might be at 5 or whatever the government said, and that would have been updated, right? ACC is quite complicated. You might need to speak to your accountant to get your ACC percentage. Make sure that this is a percentage. So what we have got here is builders are around about 5%, accountants 1% or actually less, because an accountant is not likely to get an accident. But ACC is industry and company specific. So if I was an accounting firm and I had boxes everywhere and people were falling over them, breaking their leg, hurting their back, my percentage would be very high even though I'm an accounting firm, right? But let's pretend I'm a building firm, it's 5%. So I've asked my accountants, it's 5%. Now, paid breaks in New Zealand currently are 10 minutes, right? But I want you to put in, what do they actually take? So look at their contract, and their contract might say 10 minutes, but in reality, they take 20. So put 20 in. You want this to be high level, worst case. If their breaks do not impact your revenue, put 0. Now, an example of that, a building firm might charge out for the day, right? They might charge out 8 hours of the day. So they're getting paid for the breaks as well. The company is getting paid for the breaks. Or if you think about a restaurant, right? You've got enough staff to cover that break. So it's really not impacting your revenue. But if you think about a hairdresser, they cannot cut hair at that point, okay? So we're going to put 10 minutes. Save that. All right, I'm going to come into here, my first employee, and call them Sarah. I'll call them something different. We'll call them Haley. Haley Hobson, that's me. Okay, and they can be paid hourly or annually. It doesn't matter. I'll go hourly. $35 and I'll go $40 an hour. Do a different one than the other example. How many days do I work? Say 5 days a week and 8 hours a day, right? These are averages, right? Now, public holidays. Say actually I work 4 days a week. If I work 4 days a week, there is a chance that I'm not going to get all 12 public holidays. But this has been a real live situation quite a few times for my clients. Someone works part-time, but they change the days and then they get public holidays, right? So they don't work a Monday and they take a Friday off, but then they switch and they haven't updated this costing template. So I think you should just do it worst case. You should assume they get all public holidays, because very soon most public holidays are going to be Mondayized. So for example, if they took a Thursday off or a Wednesday off to split up the week, they would have the advantage of 12 public holidays not prorated for working 4 days. So let's go 12, right? Worst case, because they can always change things. Okay, this is here. Has your employee worked less than 6 months? Because if they've worked less than 6 months, they're not entitled to sick leave, right? But you may be generous and go, you can have sick leave from day one. If they can have sick leave from day one, you would leave that unticked. If they have only worked 6 months, and I have got some restaurants that only employ people for 6 months because of the seasonality, they just don't know what's coming up. They're not doing it to avoid sick pay. It's just the seasonality. So they're never going to qualify for sick leave, and they don't give it to them on day one. So they can tick that. But if you want to be prudent, don't tick it. And that will give you the worst case, and then you'll have cherry on the top because you'll actually be better than that. Okay, non-billable time. So say the Christmas party is on a work day and they get paid. So it's on a work day. So every year, so hours per year, and I work 8 hours a day, right? I'd put in here, that's 8 hours per year. Then I come in here and I go team training, team meetings. And then I come down here and I go days per year. So number of hours, sorry, that was supposed to be days per year, and it's 1 day, So it's the Christmas party is 1 day per year. Now the team meeting is hours per week, right? Now this just assumes that it's over 52 weeks. So if they're going to take their annual leave, which is 4 weeks, and they take them off in 4 whole weeks, a month off, well, obviously they're going to miss some of these meetings, but go worst case. It doesn't matter, right? Because someone might take annual leave and they might just take 2 days a week, every week, and they still do these team meetings. So we just go 1 hour a week for team meetings, right? Okay, what else do we have in here? Then I have done days per week. We get 1 day off for the Christmas party. Hours per week being the team training. And so the next one I'm going to do is hours per year. So number of hours per year, I might go, they do a training course. They do a health and safety training course, right? They do a health and safety training course, and I know that that's 4 hours every year. They legally have to do it. I'm making this up, blah, blah, blah. The other one we've got in here is a percentage, just general non-billable time. They're reading emails that you've sent out. They're not client related, just general non-billable time. You go, 5% for that one, right? All right. Now this non-billable time is worked out on their billable hours, which only includes their annual leave, public holidays, and sick leave. It doesn't take into all these considerations as well, right? That would just be too much. Okay. So coming into here, just pretend for now we want to know what the break even is. So we're going to put 0 gross profit here, right? Now this is your staff expenses that I was referring to before. You might go the Christmas party, at the Christmas lunch. That costs $300 per head. And then you've got the Christmas event, because you do an event and lunch, and that's $500 per head. And then you might do a conference per year, right? And the conference, oops, I spelled that wrong. No, I haven't spelled that right. Conference per year is $2,000 per employee, right? And then you come into here. One thing I want you to think about is subscriptions. Because subscriptions, like if you've got Pay Hero and then an accounting system that you have to subscribe for that person, or back costing, they add up quite a lot per person. And if you've got someone only working 5 hours a week, you're still paying like $2,000 a year. So you've got someone working 40 hours a week, you're paying $2,000 a year for them. But if you've got someone working 5 days a week, you're probably still paying $2,000 a year, because it's subscriptions like Pay Hero, your payroll system. It's emails. It's other things that you've got. It can go on and on and on, and that can cost you a lot. Okay, let's add this employee. So what do we see here? So Haley's paid $40 an hour, but to break even, it's $61.51 just to break even. You can see 0 here. And if I want to include all my subscriptions and my Christmas gift, yes, I want to proceed, I now go up to $65.59 just to break even. And I go back here. So, can't remember what it said, 65 or something, but now it's 61. That's quite a lot, right? And I was part-time staff. So say I go back to part-time here. I go really part-time. I only want to do 2 days a week, and I'm going to do 10 hours a day. So I'm going to do 20 hours. Hope you can remember the number I've just done. Update me. I'm now $75 an hour to break even, excluding the staff costs. Put in these guys, I'm $82.97, right? I'm probably not going to get all those public holidays if I work 2 days, but if the days I work are Mondays and Fridays, when things are Mondayized, I just might get a lot of them, right? But I still get 10 days. 10 sick days. 10 sick days. Right. So if you can look at all that, right, and go, oh, actually, but I need to make a profit on this person. Let's make this a bit more realistic. Go back to 5 days a week, and we can do 8 hours a day, a standard kind of contract there. Update that. All right. I do need to make money on this person, right? And let's have a look at it before staff costs. So on a gross profit level, I want to make 30%, right? So I come into here and I can update that there. Oops, and I did update it. If I want to make 30% gross profit, I need to charge me out at $84.63. Now, if I want to find out the $84.63, come down here. Come down here. Hold the phone caller. That is only a 26.3 profit because it's 30% up here. 30% here up here as a gross profit number. But once I add in all those costs, the subscription one I really want you to think about, I'm only making 26.3. And how I like to explain this to people, for every $100 you get, so if you register for GST, if a customer spends $115 with you, currently the GST rate's 15, this could be changed by the time I'm watching this, 15 goes to the IRD, you have 100 left, right? After paying your staff, this employee, you have $30 left. So you've paid them $70. But then you pay this $4,800, right? And you only have $26.30 left for every $100 you get on that employee. Okay. On that employee. That's not covering all the other overheads like proportion of rent and all those other bits and pieces, power and all that kind of stuff. Now let's tick this on. So that's $84.63. Let's tick that and proceed. It is now $89.13 to include those other costs down here, right? So that is to give us a profit here of 30%, right? So we've got a profit here of 30%, which means we up here, we need to have a gross profit of 33.5% to get a profit of 30%. We need to, so you say profit, we need to charge me out at $89.13. All right, look, that is, one of my customers said this is like trying to take all this knowledge in is like trying to drink from a fire hydrant. Now, it is like trying to drink from a fire hydrant. I agree, but I don't want to make these videos an hour long. Let's have a chat. Let's have a meeting together and go through it and look at your employees and see how we can help you, because so many people are losing so much money because they don't understand this. They don't get that the hours people work aren't always prorated, just the annual leave. Know your numbers, grow your business.